All right, everyone, we are back to work on washing bigger pots and pans and dishes so they don't take up too much space in the dishwasher. You probably won't see a lot of my face in this video because I want you to be able to see the sink and what we're doing. To start, you want to add warmer water, not too hot because you don't want to burn your hands. And then you want to use something like a cloth or a sponge, and I even have a brush as well to clean the dishes. You don't want to use anything too hard like a fork or some sort of utensil because that can scratch the pot. So you want to add the warm water to, I kind of have some soap already in this bowl. So you would add warmer water, and then you can go back to this as you're washing. And then also I have some dish soap that I'm gonna add. This is soap for hand washing the dishes. The soap that you put in the dishwasher is dishwashing soap, which is a little bit different. So I'm just gonna add a little bit. You don't need too much of this soap because it goes a really long way. It's much stronger than just hand soap. And so now I kind of have a warm water and soap mixture. I used this brush a little bit because sometimes there's things stuck on the pot. So you want to make sure you get everything off, but again, not really using a utensil because it can scratch it. So once I started with this, I have some dirty water in here I'm gonna put out. Sometimes I leave the water running when I'm washing dishes, and sometimes I turn it off, just depending on what I'm doing. I'm gonna add a little bit more warm water, and then I'm going to take my warm soapy cloth and just wash the whole dish. You wanna make sure you wash it good and get as many of the marks and stains off of it because other people or yourself are going to use this to cook again, and you don't wanna be cooking in anything dirty or not sanitized. So I'm even washing the outside of the pot and the handles because as we were cooking, we were touching all of that. So I'm making sure that I get all the spaces in the pot, all the marks that were left on, I think from a sauce that was probably in here. Seems like I cleaned it pretty good. So you can see I cleaned all the areas. The next step is you're going to want to rinse it off. Again, I use warmer water. I always test it before I use it because you want to make sure that it's not too hot and you don't burn yourself. So right now I'm just rinsing off all of the soap that I put on. You know, this is something that you can be practicing at home. If you cook something or your family cooks something, you can wash the bigger pots and pans once you practice doing it. So I think I have all the soap off. You want to make sure you rinse it pretty good because you also don't want to be cooking in soap. So you can see my pot's really clean, and then I'm actually going to put it over to the side on a drying rack. So you could hand dry it with a clean towel, a clean hand towel, or you can let it dry for a little bit. The next thing I have is the lid to the pot. So again, I'm going to get it a little bit wet with warmer water. I still have my same soap rag, warm water and soap that I can use. Eventually you might need to add more soap or add a little bit more water, but since I just created it, it's good. So I'm getting all of the edges, the handle, of course, putting this back in the soap dish, and then just rinsing it off. So again, with warmer water, but not too hot because I don't want to burn myself. So that looks pretty good. I cleaned the whole thing inside, outside, and the handle. I'm going to put it over on our drying rack. And then I have a baking sheet. You can see there's still some food left on it, so that's sometimes why I use the brush. it won't hurt the dishes, but kind of get some of the leftover food off before I wash it clean. So again, using the same rag, it's still a lot of soap on it, so it's good to use. And cleaning the whole thing. The edges, the inside, making sure all the food and all the marks are coming off of it. That one looks pretty good. You can see it's covered in soap. I'm going to turn on the warm water. Again, making sure I test it before I put my hands in it because I don't want to burn myself. And then you have our clean cooking sheet, which will go on the drying rack. So I'll show you one more dish. Here's a bigger bowl. Again, maybe you do put this in the dishwasher, or maybe you don't have a dishwasher and you wash everything by hand. That's also fine. But I'm going to wash this one by hand just to show you so it doesn't take up too much space. I added a little water. I'm using my same dish rag that has soap and water on it, and I'm washing the whole bowl. You have to make sure you kind of scrub it pretty good because you want to get all the remaining food off of it. I know that I wouldn't want to use a plate or bowl that had someone else's leftover food. So again, rinsing all of the soap off in warm water, and I'm being aware that it's not too hot. And then again, it'll go on the drying rack. So I always hand wash bigger pots and pans and dishes so they don't take up too much space. And then as you can see, we have a drying rack. So a lot of them are over there drying on the rack. So next video we'll be able to practice rinsing dishes off and putting them in the dishwasher. Okay, great work. Can't wait to see you practice.